We are in the final stretch of the My Hero Academia manga, and in the previous chapter, Spinner's resolution were presented, solidifying him as one of the best characters in this series. This chapter introduced a sudden consequence of the war: the fans. Let's start with the chapter summary. My Hero Academia chapter 428, The Girl Who Loves Smiles. The chapter begins with the first year students showing interest in Bakugo and Shoro. They explain that their fascination began after watching the battle against All for One, while others have admired them since the sport festival, making them their main inspiration. Lida steps in to rescue them, explaining that it's fine to admire them, but following them in such a large group is overwhelming. While Shoro mentions that he could speak to everyone individually, Bakugo does everything he can to get Lida to drive them away. After explaining that they haven't fully recovered and need to rest, the group understands their mistake and begin to despair. Meanwhile, in the classroom, the boys discuss the situation outside. Shinzo is surprised that Bakugo doesn't like being the center of attention, to which Deku responds that because girls have always avoided him, he's not used to such attention. Both Mineta and Kaminari are jealous because Bakugo is the center of attention. They expect it from Shoro, but Bakugo annoys them too much. Once the fan group disperses, one fan returns to say something to Deku. "I saw you fight, and you gave me a lot of courage. I felt that I needed to do something too, that I needed to be like you, so thank you." However, Deku's mind flashed to Spinner's face, and he doesn't know how to react as he thinks, "This pain." While the boys continue discussing Bakugo's fame, Uraraka is seen with a distant look in the background. We then move to Teacher's Lounge, where President Mike mentions they've received another interview request for the 2-1 students. However, Aizawa quickly rejects it. While some students would be happy to be the center of attention, others wouldn't, and he is prioritizing their well-being. Now the students are sent to the reconstruction zone, where they will be supporting heroes like Fat Gum, Suniter, Best Genius, and Edshot. In the light work area, Bakugo encounters Edshot and asks if he'll stay in that form forever, but Edshot tells him not to worry, he's recovering well, even having little treat hands now. Bakugo asks if he'll return to normal, and Edshot replies that he plans to be even better than before, which brings a slick smile to Bakugo's face. Work here and there, and it's time to eat. After serving the food, a civilian speaks to Deku, telling him that his land was destroyed during the war, prompting Deku to apologize. However, his intention is not to blame him. He wants Deku to know that seeing them do their best made them realize they shouldn't be depressed. Instead of leaving everything to them, they want to help rebuild as many times as necessary. The heroes thank the civilian for the food and say they're determined to finish today. To Aizawa's surprise, Cementos appears with his first-year students, ready to apologize to Class A and plan to help them finish. Even though they don't have their provisional license, they will do everything to lighten their load. The man from before comments that this really makes it seem like doing your best makes people to do the same. Once again, looking into the distance, Uraraka comments that she feels relieved that everything seems to be more optimistic little by little. Despite Deku and Suyu's concern, Uraraka runs off in search of more food. Later that night, we learn that after the war, leaving the dorms is no longer mandatory, and students can now return home whenever they want. A clear example is Uraraka, who seems to have decided to go home for a while, which worries her friend since she isn't even responding to her message. We see a flashback, showing that the reporter's camera ran out the battery just as twice clones were disappearing. Uraraka observes the city from the hill and thinks, "That day, our conclusion wasn't captured on camera. The city returned to normal, unlike before. Now it's really over. That's good. Now it's time to be optimistic and recover everything." and I love seeing everyone smile. Uraraka begins to tear up as she remembers Toga and clutches the wound on her stomach. I don't want to ruin the mood. That's why I've been holding it in. This wound and its pain. Finally, she releases all her pain with a scream and starts crying desperately. However, behind her, Deku arrives shouting, "Uraraka." End of the chapter. My Hero Academia has only 2 chapters left, and this time it begins the resolution of Uraraka and Toga. Let's start with the chapter analysis. Regarding the fans, it's no surprise that Bakugo and Shoro now have many fans, since they shone in the war, each in their own way. For Todoroki, it's probably normal. Even at a sports festival, despite losing, he showed a lot. However, it seems strange that Deku, being the main protagonist of this war, facing Shigaraki directly, and being broadcast to the whole world, doesn't have any fans, or at least not conventional ones. As we'll see throughout the chapter, Deku's action, rather than generating admiration, impacts people's hearts, generating the feeling of, I want to be like him, I want to give it my all. They are driven to want to do their best no matter how many times they fall to get back up. That personally seems even better to me. The hero Deku has become is worthy of admiration. On Bakugo's side, we can observe, even if minimally, a notable development of the blonde. The character we see throughout the chapter is one that doesn't annoy when seen. The Bakugo of now, while still showing a bit, shows reaction when followed by fans that are even funny, hiding behind Lida, asking him to get them away from him, even accosting them by calling him president. I found it a fun interaction. Even after being teased by Mineta and Kirishima, he doesn't overreact as he used to. The Bakugo we see now is a lovely character. We can also see a genuine concern from the hero who saved his life in the war. He truly cares about him and expresses it. Previously, he would keep the feeling inside and hid it behind his bad temper. But now, he shows concern, and he can even smile genuinely upon hearing that Earthshot will recover in the near future. Without a doubt, whether people like or not, Bakugo has in this development in this series. And now, let's get to the heavy part of the chapter, Uraraka and her secret suffering. Throughout the chapter, we see Uraraka with a distant look. While everything around her seems to be improving after the hard war, her friends are now able to smile again, and everyone is working hard to get things back to normal. However, she's unable to smile sincerely. She hides behind a fake smile. With her goal being to make heroes smile, she is now unable to smile genuinely. Of the main trio, she was the only one who couldn't save her villain. Shoro was able to stop Toga, and now it seems he had a satisfactory conclusion. While Deku had no option to save Shigaraki, he was able to understand his pain and now carries that message. But Uraraka, even though she was able to understand Toga, in the end she couldn't save her, and even the broadcast was interrupted, so the world couldn't see Toga's conclusion. The world couldn't see how that girl, rejected for her quirk, was able to save someone's life. The world couldn't see the true face of Himiko Toga. Uraraka decided to keep all that suffering to herself. She didn't want to ruin the happiness of all her friends and decided to suffer alone. However, on that mountain, where they had their last conversation before the war, the two friends meet again to support each other. Uraraka was already the pillar of support when Deku needed it most, and now it's time to show her that he will always be there for her. Realizing that his friend's smile was fake and worrying because she wasn't responding to his message, he rushed to help her. Even using the embers of One for All, he's willing to spend what is left of his quirk to support his friend who needs him now more than ever. Next week's chapter will be very emotional. What do you think will happen in the few chapters that remain? I will read your comments. Thank you very much for the support, and without further ado, goodbye.
Step the line.